welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing a stitch with me back working on the epic Pokemon original 150 piece. I have, since my last video, I have finished off the Clefable. We are now maybe halfway through the Voltorb. So we'll try and get as much of him done as we can today. So I'm actually, for this pattern, when you use it in Pattern Keeper or whatever app you use, it doesn't have the overlap, so when I move on to the next page I'm blindly just guessing that I'm going to the right place, but I think I am. Okay, so I had to actually pause the video there because I was really confused about what I had and hadn't done, because I hadn't marked my app properly, because I must have been very tired when I last finished on this. This stitch here, I'm not happy with that at all, so I don't know if that's a pin stitch there, maybe actually. Oh yes it is, okay, good, that's not just a rubbish stitch, that's fine. So I found where we are and where we're starting and what I've done and what I haven't done, so we can get on with it now. And of course now the noisy aeroplanes are deciding that it's time to go out and play. Really, I mean, the flight path that we live under isn't like a main commercial airport flight path, it's kind of like a private airport I think, but still, it's definitely not fun to live underneath there because it's quite loud. I am now also using my new stand and I'm absolutely loving it. It's so much better than my lap stand, but the way I've got it set up at the minute now, it's not actually like tucked under my furniture, so it's still a little wobbly for filming, but it's so much better than my other one. This is so hard to stitch this area because it's a lot of similar colour reds, so when I look away from what I've done, I then can't remember what the last thing I did was. I think it's that stitch there. Yeah, so I hope you've all had a lovely week. My working week was ended very abruptly yesterday because on my way home from work, my clutch on my car died. So I'm now sat in, well, I couldn't go to work today because I couldn't get there. My partner could have driven me, but he works longer hours than I would, so I would have had to go to work 2 hours early and finish 2 hours later than I meant to, which I just wasn't willing to do because I did not get paid overtime. And I also had to stay home today to wait for the impact driver that my boyfriend will need to fix my clutch, because he is a qualified mechanic, so luckily I didn't have to pay professional prices to have my car fixed. So he'll be picking up my new clutch this evening, and then he'll be fixing my car this weekend for me, which is great. And I told him that in return I will bake him some cookies because he loves it when I do that, and I don't love doing it, so that is the price I'm paying. And of course obviously paying for the parts for the car, but definitely a hell of a lot cheaper than what I would be charged in a garage. I'm hoping that it doesn't rain too much this weekend, because I'd feel really bad if he was out there under the car in the rain. I might stand out there with an umbrella for him if it does. But I know he's basically got to take my entire car apart to get into the gearbox, so it's definitely not a small job. My hands are really sweaty today, I don't know why, it's making it really hard to hold my needle. Okay, never mind. I guess I'm just a sweaty-handed person. I want to thank you all again for the lovely support and comments that you leave me. I'm almost at 60 subscribers now, and it absolutely baffles me that there's 60 people out there that want to watch another video that I upload. But I'm very, very grateful for it. Where am I going next? I'm going here. So just 2 more stitches of this colour, which is nice because these 2 reds are too similar for my eyes to differentiate between. I actually had to check that I hadn't accidentally used the wrong red, but I haven't. Which is lucky because the thread is almost out. Oh, I've got 3 stitches here to do. Okay, hopefully this thread is long enough. I don't think it's going to be. And that will be really annoying. I do not want to have to start a whole new thread just to stitch these last bits. So yeah, we had really beautiful weather yesterday actually. I was at work and we had the windows open and it felt like summer was on the way. And now today it is rainy and stormy again, so shouldn't have got my hopes up. I was thinking that it was almost time to start stitching in the garden, but I guess we're still a little bit away from that. Can I stretch this for 1 more stitch? I don't know. Can I do it? Do I need to do it? I don't think I can. So, if you watched my last video, you will know that my hands are literally too sweaty to pull my needle through the back. Let me just dry them. Okay, as I was saying, see, still not, they're dry, and now my needle's like greasy. Okay, sorry, that's probably too much information. I don't know if I'm gonna make this. If you watched my last video, you'll see that I was in 2 minds. Yes, I got you through. Okay, I didn't get to end my stitch properly there, but I'll take it. So I was saying that I was in 2 minds as to whether to change my Amazing Animal Kingdom stitching to 2/110 and stop doing the 1/1 full cross, and I did do that and I'm much happier with it. So next time I record that project you'll see, and actually you can barely tell that I've done anything. If you're sort of just glancing at it, you can't tell that I've made any changes, so that's nice. So I had a comment in my last video as well asking for me just to show how I start and end my threads. So on this project I'm doing a loop start, so that means I'll use 1 single thread and fold it in half to create a loop at the end. You see that? And then to start the stitching I will go down in one of the holes of the stitch that I want to do, leave that loop on the top of the fabric, come up in a diagonal hole across from it, and then take my needle through the loop and then go back down in either of those holes. It really doesn't matter which one, both of them do the same thing, and then just gently pull that loop through. There's a hair there, nice. Yeah, and then that's the first leg of the stitch done, and it's completely secure. And I will hopefully at some point in this video be able to show you how I end them too. So yeah, that's secure, no loose threads at the back. It's just definitely the easiest way, I think, to start any stitching. And I know it's a very popular method. See, I'm not going to unthread my needle here. I'm not going to try and come back up in that place because I know I won't be able to. I'm just going to stitch it again. Voila. Never know that happened. Well, I'm sure you can, but still, it looks fine. There are a fair few dodgy stitches in this so far, but honestly, for the messing around of like from frogging things and trying to fix them, I just can't be bothered. I'm just not that person. I will leave them. At the end of the day, when this is finished, are you going to notice them? No. The people that do have the patience to sit and make every stitch perfect, I really envy, but I just can't do that. I wonder if you can hear that wind outside now. It actually didn't start being windy and rainy until I started filming this, which is, I guess, that's life. Two of these in this eye. I'm really not doing very well at my whip go this month in terms of sticking to the whips that were called. This is one of them, so I am being good today, but I've been working a lot on my Aida, which wasn't called, and working on another new start that I shouldn't have started, but I did. So the ones that should be getting the most attention are sort of getting just an equal amount of attention as everything else. So yeah, not doing great, but I think just stitch what you want to stitch. I use the whip go as kind of a guide, I suppose now. But if you want to stitch on something, don't feel like you shouldn't or you can't, because whip go says so. Definitely a stitch what makes you happy kind of person. I'm really hoping that the weather perks up soon and I can start stitching outside. Hopefully the aeroplanes will give me a break. Okay, so the next one is this two going here. I actually thought I would be more motivated to stitch on this one than I have been, and I don't think it's because I'm not enjoying it, because I am. I just think because I'm enjoying everything I'm doing so much, I guess I don't feel as motivated to do this one in comparison to the others, but I do enjoy this one as well. I do really need to spend some more time on it. Okay, where am I going now? So yeah, I didn't realise how bad at counting I am until I started doing this sort of cross-country method. And that wasn't even far, that was 4 stitches and it was a struggle. don't know how people can do extreme cross country. I would do every single stitch wrong. I've been trying to be less wasteful and only cut off the amount of floss that I think I'll need for the amount of stitches that I'm going to do, but I constantly don't cut enough off, and then I end up in situations where I've only got a couple of stitches left and I have no floss left and I have to start a whole new floss piece, which is then, I guess, just being just as wasteful. So maybe I'll start just cutting off long bits again. Okay, are these in the right place? Yes, thank God. Right. Okay, so let's just check on the next page and mark these off. Okay. I've got a funny feeling that I'm going to run out of floss before I finish the stitches I need again. Can't catch a break. I've been watching a lot of Gemma Stitch's channel, and I absolutely love her videos and I love the stitching sounds. I also am very envious of her. Should I go there or should I'll do these first. I'm very envious of her ability to stick to one project. I don't know if she works on other projects and doesn't film them, but from what I can see she just works on the same one, and I wish I could be that person because she just obviously makes great progress on her one, whereas I'm just making a little bit of progress on lots. And I have finally settled on what my next HAID will be when I do get called for that on WhipGo, and it's called, I think it's called my Log Cabin Home. Log Cabin Home. Yeah, Log Cabin Home, I'm sure that's what it is. And it's so beautiful, and I'm really looking forward to it because I definitely wanted to do one that involved some sort of waterside scene, and that one has that. It's got the beautiful trees and the flowers and the little ducks, and of course the lovely cabin. So I'm really excited to start that one, but we're not very far into March yet, so we've still got a little while before anything new is called for WhipGo, and there's no guarantee it will be that anyway. But I'm not in any rush. I also just ordered some more fabric for another new start that isn't on my WhipGo that I accidentally decided I was going to order fabric for. It is a huge sampler type project, so maybe I will try and have some self-restraint and use the fabric that I've ordered for the things that I should actually be stitching on. But we'll see. We'll see how much self-control I have when it arrives. It's also all one colour, so I need to spend a little bit of time deciding what colour I want to use because it's a big piece, and that is a lot of commitment to one colour. I'm kind of thinking to use one of the water lilies threads, but I can't decide which one. And a part of me kind of just wants to do it in black. I feel like it would look lovely just done in black, but would I get bored of that? Probably. So I don't know. Definitely requires a lot of thought, I think. Okay, so I'm going to end this thread now so I can show you how I do that. So it's just a pin stitch, and I usually, if I was parking, I would try and do my pin stitch under where there was a parked thread. That way I knew I'll be stitching over it fairly soon. I'm not parking now, so I'm just kind of do it anywhere. I guess just to remember that there is white background on this piece, so not to do a pin stitch anywhere where I won't be stitching. So like there's one here that I will be stitching over this, so that's fine. But for example, there's nothing over here, I don't think, so I couldn't do a pin stitch here. Okay, so what I like to do is choose a square, come up in between the threads on either the left or right, and then you can see I can't do it with my left hand, but I don't want to create a shadow. Maybe I can zoom in. I hope you can see this. So then I go down the middle, split the threads in the middle. You can see sweaty hands will not allow me to pull this through. There we go. And then I'll do that again on the other side. This thread's actually a little bit short to do this easily. Up, down in the edge, and then down in the middle again. And then because I don't like to end threads at the back or flip my work over, I will just come back up on one of the edges again, unthread my needle, and then just cut away that tail. That's that, and then I will stitch over that and you'll never know it was there. So yeah, it's much easier when your thread's a little bit longer than that and your hands aren't really sweaty. Okay. How far out was I zoomed before? I'll go maybe there. Okay, so the next colour that we are called for is 310 black, and the piece that I had left over was actually too short for me to justify doing a loop start on it, because once I folded it in half it would be too short to stitch with. So I've just threaded my needle as if I was going to use 2 strands, so there's no loop, it's just 2 separate strands together. And I'm going to show you how I will start from the front without doing a loop start, which I don't do very often, only when I can't justify throwing the piece away. I'll usually just do a loop start and get a new piece of floss, but I won't this time. So I kind of do I do a pin stitch start, but I do it the opposite way to how I end them, so I'll do it from top to bottom rather than left to right. So I begin by going down in the center of the stitch square, and then pull it through, leaving a tail out on the front, and then I just hold that down with my finger, and then I will come in the middle of the stitch at the bottom. I hope you can see this. It's kind of hard with black, I guess. Pull that to its taut, and then back down in the middle. Up through the top of the stitch in the middle, back down in the center, and then just pop your needle somewhere, and then I will just cut away that tail, and then that is secure, so I can now just stitch that square as normal. And you don't have to do it underneath the one that you're going to be stitching if for some reason you don't want to, or whatever reason. And then that of course will now be covered by the stitch that I do there. I will literally do anything to avoid having to flip my work over. And that doesn't really take any time at all to start the stitch that way. So yeah. Now I'm going to cover this pin stitch that I did here. Sometimes if my thread is really short, when I'm going to do my pin stitch end, I will just do a tacking stitch, which is similar to a pin stitch, where you come up at the edge in the middle of one of the stitches and then just go down the other side, instead of sort of going in the middle and the center of the stitch. I don't do that very often. I don't know how more or less secure a pin stitch is compared to that, but that is another option. It just means less trying to get your stitch through when your thread is really short. So next we are going to do some of the 310 that's around the edge of him. Because I'm trying to stitch each Pokemon separately, there are bits where the 310 is part of the next Pokemon, so it's kind of hard to tell which bits go with what, but it's not the end of the world if we do a little bit of another Pokemon, I guess. Here now. Next week, I've got 2 days at work on Monday and Tuesday, and then I am off for the rest of the week. So booked some days off, so I had to use them up before April. So me and my boyfriend are hopefully going on a fishing trip. I'm going to attempt to take my stitching with me, so I'll probably be taking my lap stand. And I'm hoping that I'm not so cold that I can't stitch, that my hands aren't frozen. Because that would be very sad. Okay, so we're going over onto the next page. Trying to figure out... Ah, that was wrong. That one there, but no. Okay, I'm actually gonna have to frog that one out. See, not having the overlap between the pages is very confusing. So I can actually stitch that from there. it actually goes here. And then this one goes. Okay, sorry about that guys, my memory was full on my phone, which I'm recording on, so I have absolutely no idea where that cut out. It could have been just as I noticed or ages before then, so hopefully it wasn't too long. So I'm just stitching, I mean, I don't know when it's going to cut out again. I may... Okay, I'm just going to carry on and keep an eye on it a little bit better. If it cuts out again, I'm going to have to start deleting some things so I can make some space. Very frustrating. I may just finish off the black stitches and then call it a day. I'm not sure how long this video has even been. I don't think it's been that long. But I don't want to have to keep fighting with my phone for storage after 2 minutes every time. Hopefully I emptied my, so when you delete your photos on your phone, they go to a recently deleted folder rather than being actually deleted from your phone, so you haven't actually saved any memory by deleting them. So I've gone and emptied my recently deleted, so they're actually gone now, so hopefully that's freed up some room. I don't know why when you do like cleanup procedures on your phone to save space, why it doesn't suggest doing that. Hopefully I can get all of this recorded before it cuts out again. But because that's what I want to happen, I'm sure that isn't what's going to happen. I mean, he's definitely starting to look a bit more like Voltorb now that he's got some blacks in his eyes. Okay, I'm just going to do this last bit. Hopefully my thread is long enough. Here we are on this problem again. And I will call it a day. We made it. So I'm just going to end this thread and I will end him just next to there. Again, he's a little short, so I might show what I mean by a tacking stitch. So I've come up on the right of the stitch that I'm going to end him on, and then I'll just go down on the left rather than in the centre. And then back up on the right, just so I can cut that thread from the front, and then that will be covered when I stitch over there. Yeah, I mean, it's secure enough that it's not going to be pulled out at the back, and that's all I really care about. So yeah, this is how far we've gotten so far. Next time I will be working on a different Pokemon, but I'm not sure which one yet. I haven't quite decided. If any of you have seen the pattern and would like to request which one I move on to next, that's next to these two, feel free, and I'll definitely do that. I hope you all have a lovely weekend and happy stitching!